Thing. Translation edited by Chinyu. A room filled with air can only hold so much, and if the doors and windows are sealed, the air will become stale. However, if there are windows on the north and south sides of the room, and they are opened, fresh air will continuously flow in and out. The larger the windows, the stronger the flow of energy. Can this fresh air ever be exhausted? Never. It is inexhaustible. A businessman's secret to making money lies in the rapid circulation of his capital. The faster it circulates, the more money he makes. The slower it circulates, the less he earns. If he holds onto it tightly without letting it circulate, that capital becomes dead, and not a single penny can be earned. A beloved singer earns respect and honor by continuously performing for people. The more they sing, the more honor they receive, and the more they sing, the more active their artistic selves become, leading to ever-improving skills. If they stop singing, their artistic talent diminishes, and they gradually fade from people's memories, eventually falling into obscurity. Wise people are those who continually dedicate their wisdom to others and society. The more they give, the faster they give, the more their wisdom grows, becoming increasingly perfect. The more they release, the more they gain. The more they give, not only does their wisdom not diminish, but their wealth of wisdom actually increases. The more one labors and exercises, the stronger, more energetic, and more vibrant their body becomes. The less one moves and the more they indulge, the weaker their body, the worse their spirit, and the more fatigue they feel. Therefore, the secret to acquiring infinite energy lies in all-encompassing release. The material world and the non-material world operate under opposite laws. From a material perspective, the more one releases, the more energy decreases. But from a non-material perspective, the more one releases, the more energy increases. When Jesus was in the human world, he continuously released, and as a result, the energy he gained was unprecedentedly immense. The same was true for Buddha. Many people in the human world are constantly taking but are stingy in releasing. In the end, they gain nothing and have no energy. The more you give, the more you gain. If you are unwilling to release anything, the result is energy depletion. Jesus revealed this secret to us. For whoever has, more will be given to them. And whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. The more you give, the greater the reward. The less you give, the more you will lose even what little you have. The greatest creator's energy is infinite and inexhaustible. When our soul connects with the greatest creator's spirit, we are actually connected to an ocean of energy, and we possess endless energy. Half an acre of square pond looks like a mirror. The light of the sky and the shadow of the clouds linger together. Ask the canal how it stays so clear, because there is a source of living water. By accepting the endless stream of living water from the source and letting it flow out, the small pond will forever remain pure and fresh, eternally reflecting the light of the sky and the shadows of the clouds. We are in the way of the greatest creator, and every day we absorb the revelations of the greatest creator's Tao. Our wisdom is constantly growing, and the fresh living water flows continuously in Life Genuine. At the same time, we are building Life Genuine by releasing our wisdom. The more wisdom we release, the more wisdom we will gain, exponentially increasing. The wise have said, a hospitable person will never be poor, a thief will never be rich. The more guests you entertain, the wider your sources of wealth will be. The more you sneak and steal, the narrower your path to wealth will be, and you will never become truly rich. Every day, the Chanyuan Celestials offer the gems they find to Life Genuine to entertain the Chanyuan guests. Have we become poor? Has our wisdom diminished? No, not only has it not diminished, but our spirit and soul have become increasingly abundant, and our path has broadened. If I may speak from experience, I release myself daily by writing articles. Have I become poor? No, I have become richer. First, the Oceans of Wisdom in Preaching Tao chapter, the Non-Material World chapter, the Attainment of Buddhahood chapter, Celestial Cultivation chapter, Wisdom chapter, and other texts are endless. Advanced self-improvement, advanced cultivation, the mysteries of life, advanced health preservation, and other yet-to-be-published wisdom reside within me. I am probably one of the richest people in the world. Additionally, The number of Chanyuan celestials is growing, and they are all my brothers, sisters, family, and loved ones. If one day there are 10,000 Chanyuan celestials spread across the globe, my living space will span the entire earth, and I will have homes everywhere. Do you think I am wealthy? Following this reasoning, every Chanyuan celestial has this blessing and is expanding their territory of free living. Just working towards this realistic ideal is worth it. The more you give, the richer you become, not to mention the Life-Chanyuan era and the journey to the Celestial Islands continent. Many people are unwilling to give, selfish, stingy, and unwilling to release even a little energy for the construction of Life-Chanyuan. Have they become rich? I think they are as poor as can be, pitifully desolate, and their final outcome is likely to lose even what they have. Some may secretly rejoice, thinking they can continuously absorb the wisdom of others without giving, profiting from nothing, and making a fortune with no capital. In reality, this is foolishness that blinds their spirit. The world doesn't work that way. When life transforms, judgment is not based on how much one has acquired, but on how much one has given. The so-called hidden dragons and crouching tigers, the so-called reclusive sages, are actually some of the most foolish idiots. If stealing could make one rich, everyone would steal. Who would still be willing to create? Those who feel proud of themselves but lament that no one understands them are, in reality, selfish and self-centered individuals. If you don't give and only calculate your own small benefits, how can you not feel lonely and isolated? Therefore, you must give, you must release. The greatest creator is constantly releasing his energy without ever desiring to possess anything. Who in this universe could be more affluent than the greatest creator? Don't let immediate benefits blind your eyes. Don't let secular values control your spirit and soul. Boldly love those who are worthy of love, and dedicate all you have to those who pursue truth, goodness, beauty, and love, to the brothers, sisters, family, and loved ones in Life-Chanyuan. In doing so, you will receive abundant rewards in the end, karmic rewards beyond imagination. Let us continuously spread the teachings of Life-Chanyuan, inviting the guests of Chanyuan to join in the construction of Life-Chanyuan and the creation of the Life-Chanyuan era. As long as we contribute a little, release a little, we will experience the joy of giving, and the merits we accumulate will be embedded in the structure of our life. That will be our ticket to ascend to heaven, the foundation of transcending the mundane and transforming our beings. It's not about recognizing quality. It's about comparing quality. Everyone can compare and feel for themselves the immense value of Life-Chanyuan. 人生的三大追求, the three major pursuits in life. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. There are three major pursuits in life: knowledge, wisdom, and spirituality. These are the three steps toward becoming a celestial being or a Buddha. Knowledge is the understanding and summary of the material world by people. Wisdom is the sublimation of knowledge, a capability to discern, analyze, and judge the essence and extension of things, as well as the ability to invent and create. Spirituality is the sublimation of wisdom, an ability to communicate with the non-material world. As people interact with the material world, they gradually discover certain laws and gain true insights and experiences during productive practices. These laws, insights, and experiences form the body of knowledge. The purpose of going to school is to quickly master the knowledge accumulated by predecessors without having to experience it all firsthand. Therefore, in elementary schools, middle schools, and universities, what one learns is knowledge. Whether one attains a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree, what is acquired is knowledge. Knowledge is not a capability but a prerequisite and foundation for acquiring capability. A person with abundant knowledge is worthy of respect because, with rich knowledge, one transcends primitive ignorance and lays the foundation for advancing towards civilization. Therefore, the pursuit of knowledge is the primary task in life. A person without knowledge is unreasonable, hard to educate, and unlikely to achieve anything. Teachers in universities, middle schools, and elementary schools possess knowledge. Experienced workers and farmers have knowledge. They are the main mediums for passing on knowledge. Nowadays, computers and the internet are also mediums for transmitting knowledge, as are books, articles, images, videos, television, CDs, and so on. However, possessing knowledge does not mean that one has capability. Only when knowledge is elevated to wisdom does a person gain the ability to discover, analyze, distinguish, and solve problems. Scientists, experts in various fields, engineers, technicians, business managers, successful entrepreneurs, political and religious leaders, all are people with wisdom. Those with wisdom are the driving force behind societal progress and development. The reason why a group of monkeys remains monkeys is that they lack wisdom. The reason why a person, a family, a clan, a nation, or a country remains poor and backward is the lack of wisdom. A person without wisdom does not know where to exert effort, how to use their mind, or how to make effective use of time. Therefore, the pursuit of wisdom becomes the urgent task for those who have knowledge. In other words, after acquiring knowledge, how to apply it to one's production and daily life becomes a matter of deep contemplation. Otherwise, the knowledge is useless. When we buy flour, cooking oil, vegetables, and seasonings at the supermarket, it does not solve our hunger problem. To solve the hunger problem, we must process these ingredients into food, and the ability to do so is the capability to transform knowledge into wisdom. Wisdom can make life full and prosperous, but it cannot solve a person's ultimate worries. Only by elevating wisdom to the level of spirituality can a person gain the ability to distinguish between truth, goodness, beauty, and love, and falsehood, evil, ugliness, and hatred. Only then can one possess morality, clearly understand the direction and purpose of life, communicate with the non-material world, understand the meaning of heaven and hell, and lay the foundation for becoming a celestial being or a Buddha. Among humanity, Buddhist monks, priests, Taoists, imams, and masters possess spirituality. They are the inheritors of spirituality. People like Osho, Oren, Seth, Zhang Hongbao, and Li Hongzhi are pioneers of spirituality. Laozi, Muhammad, Shakyamuni, and Jesus are navigators of spirituality. The Tao of the greatest creator is the source of spirituality. Knowledge and wisdom are unrelated to morality. That is to say, people with knowledge and wisdom do not necessarily possess morality. To possess morality, one must work on spirituality. But if one lacks knowledge and wisdom, it is impossible to open the door to spirituality. Even if one understands a little, it is merely superstition, and one remains clueless, unable to know the next step to take. Concepts like celestials, Buddhas, and heaven can only be illusory longings, and one might even doubt their reality, let alone attain them. Thus, there are three major pursuits in life: the pursuit of knowledge, the pursuit of wisdom, and the pursuit of spirituality, progressing step by step. Is there a way to skip knowledge and wisdom and achieve spirituality directly? In other words, is there a path to directly awaken one's spiritual awareness and reach spirituality without schooling, social practice, life experience, inventing and creation, or participating in religious activities or listening to sermons by masters? The answer is yes. First, see if you can read the celestial book, books with words, reading the heavens, the earth, life, and society, and understanding divine revelations from the phenomena of nature, thereby directly communicating with the greatest creator. Second, see if you have the predestined affinity with celestials or Buddhas and whether you can meet them and be directly enlightened by them, allowing them to guide your life. If you can fulfill either of these two conditions, even an illiterate person can attain spirituality and thus achieve the qualities of a celestial being or a Buddha, not to mention those who possess knowledge and wisdom. A person who often contemplates the ultimate goal of life is more likely to attain enlightenment and spirituality. Those who often wander in life genuine will accelerate their steps towards spirituality. 表象与本质, appearance and essence. 写法. Translation edited by Qinyu. Appearance refers to the surface phenomena of an object, which belong to its material structure. Essence, on the other hand, refers to the true nature of things, belonging to the object's non-material structure. For example, the 7 orifices, hair, limbs, bones, internal organs, etc., are the appearance of a living being, while thoughts, consciousness, mind, and soul are the essence of a living being. Similarly, the mountains, rivers, animals, plants, and weather of the earth are its appearance, while the laws, deities, and other forces that cause these appearances are the essence of the earth. Appearance and essence are two aspects of a thing. They are complementary and form a unified whole. Therefore, the appearance of something truthfully reflects its essence. The appearance changes with the evolution of the essence, and the essence reveals its true nature as the appearance changes. Hence, to understand the essence of a thing, one needs to start with its appearance. By seeing through the appearance, one can recognize the essence. No matter how varied the appearance may be, it still reflects the essential characteristics of the thing. If one fails to see the essence of something through its appearance, it is not because the appearance is misleading, but because of negligence in observation, insufficient data collection, or bias in analyzing the phenomena. In bewilderment, Jiawa Celestial asks, can the appearance and surface phenomena of things reflect the truth or falsity of the inner essence of things? My answer is yes, absolutely. The reason why a person feels pain inside but shows a smile on the outside is due to a temporary distortion of their true nature, reflecting the essence of human cunning. This is not the original nature of a person, but a devilish technique learned later in life. When a child is hungry, they cry. Their appearance and essence are perfectly unified. However, in certain situations, even if an adult is very hungry, they might say they are not hungry at all or show no signs of hunger. This is a phenomenon where true nature has been distorted, a result of improper education and a sign of humanity's decline. Although a person can lie and disguise their true nature, causing others to be misled, with careful observation, their essence can still be discerned from their appearance. By analyzing their speech, behavior, complexion, expressions, and actions over time, one can perceive their true nature. A person can deceive for a time, but cannot deceive forever. A person can deceive some people, but cannot deceive everyone. A person can deceive humans, but cannot deceive deities. Even if someone extremely cunning and treacherous deceives everyone at all times, they cannot deceive themselves. Therefore, their overall appearance still reflects their essence. Humans can continually learn from experience and discover laws from countless appearances. Once it is found that appearance does not match essence, it is possible to understand the alienation of the essence from this discrepancy. Although lying may seem to cover up the essence, it actually truthfully reflects the essence after human nature has been distorted. Buddhism teaches us to recognize our mind and see our true nature, while Taoism teaches us to return to simplicity and truth. The idea is for our appearance and essence to perfectly integrate, so we can become celestial beings and achieve Buddhahood. 给自己的人生定位 Positioning your life. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qinyu. An ancient saying goes, people aim for higher ground, while water flows to lower places. To this day, I still don't understand where the higher ground is and where the lower places are. The earth is suspended in space, so how do we distinguish between high and low places? If we leave people behind and gradually shrink the earth until it becomes non-existent, everyone would be standing foot to foot, so whose head would be facing down? This is a question of thinking, not one of height or direction. It's much like the ancient belief that the heavens are round and the earth is square, or the sun revolves around the earth. Leaving aside where the water flows, let's talk about people aiming for higher ground. Where exactly is this higher ground? In popular terms, the vast majority of Chinese people understand this higher ground as getting an education, becoming an official, making money, bringing glory to their ancestors, and bringing honor to the country. Look at Chinese history and then examine China's current situation. The core essence of this higher ground is becoming an official. Even if one is a minor official, his position is still considered higher than that of common people. Not to mention county governors, provincial governors, and central government officials. In China, once someone becomes an official for even a single day, they and those around them rise with them. Any truth will always be on the side of the officials. Envy abounds. Even if it's just a section chief, the way they walk, their manner of speaking, the expression in their eyes, and the height at which they hold their head are all different from others. You can't help but respect them, fawn over them, flatter them, and accept them. So, without a doubt, the so-called people aim for higher ground has had its mystery uncovered. It's all about striving to become an official, running for office, trying to be an official, and holding on to that position. All other pursuits are inferior. Only becoming an official is high. What do scholars amount to? Aren't they just there to serve the officials? What does money amount to? If you don't curry favor with officials, who knows when that money might end up in their pockets? I wish everyone could be an official, even a high-ranking one, but unfortunately, even if a 30-person unit has 10 deputy section chiefs, the majority will still be common people. If we set our life's goal on becoming an official, we might never find peace in this life. Telling lies, speaking in empty words, making grandiose claims, deceiving and betraying each other, scheming, and covering things up will become routine. The saying goes, real men have to be ruthless. One can't be an official without deceit. Not taking bribes is a waste, with shifty eyes. If you're honest, serious, and hardworking, yet neither want to be a master nor a servant, then you are not cut out to be an official. You should quickly adjust your life goals and direction. So, how should you position your life? If you have the chance to be an official, I advise you to set your life goal on becoming one. The benefits of being an official are too numerous to count. I could talk about them for 3 days and nights without exhausting the subject. Mastering thick black theory and the art of war should help you get by. If you can't become an official, but you're good at flattery, currying favor, bootlicking, and harboring malicious intentions, then you might set your life goal on being a lackey. This way, you'll be assured of having leftover food to eat and dregs of wine to drink, which is better than being an honest, simple commoner. If you can't become an official through the usual means, you can still aim for it indirectly. Why not organize an opposition party to try to overthrow the current government? If by chance you succeed in toppling the regime, then those positions like ministers, governors, and county chiefs would be as easy to grab as something within arm's reach, a sure thing. How do you overthrow the current regime? Just loudly proclaim democracy, freedom, human rights, and equality, then keep a close watch on the regime's flaws, magnify them, and incite the masses to revolt. Promise them that once you're in power, everyone will be able to eat while sleeping, live in golden houses, and have beauties at their disposal. This way, you'll be successful. Set your life goal on this, and your future is limitless. But if you end up in prison or lose your head, you shouldn't regret it. You can even borrow the compassionate words of Kshitigarbha Bodhisattva, "If I don't go to hell, who will?" to demonstrate your noble righteousness. If you like wealth, then position your life's goal on maximizing profit. Don't bother with things like conscience, morality, and other baseless concepts. When running a business or company, not only must you use your sharp mind, but more importantly, you must maximize the exploitation of your subordinate surplus value. Marx has already elaborated deeply on surplus value. You just need to use it in reverse, and you should be able to make money. Of course, relying solely on surplus value carries risks, so you must focus on 3 areas. 1. Surplus value. 2. Local government and party leaders. And 3. Local thugs. What does this mean? It means you need to oppress and exploit your workers, cozy up to local leaders, including those at the tax bureau, and maintain ties with local gangsters. As long as you have a few tough guys under your command, not only will the common folk not dare to oppose you, but even officials will think twice before acting. If you don't have such abilities, you can still exploit legal loopholes and corruption. If you mortgage a property and get a loan of $100,000 from the bank, don't spend it recklessly. Spend it all on the officials. This way, you can get $1 million more. Spend that on the officials again, and from then on, the sky's the limit and the sea is wide for you to leap. You could grab land, drive out the original residents, and sell the land for a profit. If that doesn't work, persuade the officials you've bribed to sell you a government enterprise at a low price, flip it, and you'll have a fortune. If that doesn't work, you could always counterfeit liquor or medicine, or rebrand cheap goods with famous labels and sell them for a profit. Or lure rural girls into the city, intimidate them into doing whatever you want, and just make sure you keep the local thugs happy. As long as you pay them off from time to time, no matter how policies change, you'll keep making money. There are endless ways to make money as long as you're clever. If you don't want to dream of being an official or getting rich, you could set your life goal on becoming famous. Birds leave their song and people leave their names. To be famous throughout history, to leave a lasting legacy, is not a bad goal. Even if you end up being cursed for eternity and your name becomes synonymous with infamy, at least you've left a mark. Why not? There are many shortcuts to fame. In today's information age, not only are there countless newspapers, magazines, and books, but TV and radio networks are also interwoven, and the internet is booming. There's a saying that goes, all the world's writing is a patchwork. It's all about how well you can piece it together. With a little organization and elaboration, borrowing bits from here and there, a scholarly paper can be produced in days, and a book can be finished in months. With a little help from your friends in the publicity department and some promotion by big-name celebrities, scholars, and experts, you can quickly rise to fame. Why care about the old saying, if words are of no benefit, speak less? Let's become famous first. Don't bother with original creations. It's too hard. Racking your brains and exhausting your mind is one thing, but dealing with your wife and kids' complaints is another. If, after all that effort, you find that your work was already considered trite, that's a disaster. If no one reads your articles and your books don't sell, you'll be left giving them away for free on the streets. Aside from a few cheap compliments from friends and relatives, you won't gain much fame, and it's just not worth it. To become famous by writing articles, the best trick is to criticize. Criticize ancestors, criticize predecessors, criticize celebrities, criticize government officials, and even criticize your parents. This way, you'll quickly gain recognition. As for the consequences, don't worry about them. Get famous first. In China, the best targets for criticism are Lu Xun, Mao Zedong, and Hu Jintao. Such articles are sure to grab attention. If you don't like that approach, I have another trick for you. Collect strange theories, odd stories, unorthodox methods, gossip, and idle talk from travelers, compile them into a book, and it's guaranteed to be a bestseller. Or, why not strip down and parade around the streets? Who knows, you might even get on TV or go viral on the internet. Fame is so easy to achieve. Isn't this a fast-paced world? If someone can get rich overnight, why can't we become famous overnight? To stand out, you need to use unconventional methods. Didn't they say, nothing in the world is difficult for one who sets his mind to it? If you're determined to be famous, why worry about having no path to follow? If you do not wish to set your life's goals on becoming an official, accumulating wealth, or gaining fame, why not start a gang? If you succeed, you can live a luxurious life, enjoying food, drinks, and power. As they say, heroes get the beautiful women, and you might even have a few ladies fawning over you. How glamorous and carefree. Of course, your freedom may be somewhat restricted. You might get a knock on your door in the middle of the night. But as the saying goes, if you don't risk your life, you can't catch the wolf. Or, if you're afraid of dirtying your pants, you won't reach the roof. Just go for it, and if things don't work out, so what? After all, in 18 years, you'll be a hero again. Not interested in all these? Why not set your life's goal on creating a religion? Today, religious freedom is globally upheld. Even the United Nations doesn't interfere. Whoever interferes with religious freedom will surely face consequences. So what are you afraid of? Chinese culture is rich and profound, providing endless material to draw from. All you need to do is create some kind of mystical method or cultivation practice. People are afraid of death and long for prosperity, longevity, and immortality. If you can convince them that your practice can cure diseases or extend life, they will flock to you. When the time is right, with election freedom, you could even turn your practice or belief system into a political party, with the potential to compete for the chairman or president. What? Creating a new religion is too difficult? Come on, my friend. If starting a new religion is hard, then why not start a sect? There are hundreds of Christian denominations and Buddhist sects. Just familiarize yourself with some scriptures, and with the right banner, you can immediately establish a new religion. What? The government won't allow it? Well, why not create a house church? As long as you hold onto the scriptures and fly the banner of God, Christ, or Buddha, you have religious freedom. International religious organizations will even cheer for you. As for what you do, who has the time to investigate in detail? What? You're worried about answering people's questions or explaining the scriptures. My dear friend, How many people today can truly explain the scriptures? Most just copy and paste from various sources and get by. Can't you bluff your way through as well? Don't like this either? Too tiring? Then learn fortune telling. Books on fortune telling are everywhere. You can even find them in trash bins. Grab one, memorize a few sections, and after a few days of practice, you're ready to start. You must act convincingly, with a mysterious aura. Be bold in your predictions, but don't get into too many details. Learn to be vague and ambiguous, so people are left guessing. With this, you can earn a living. Don't worry about no repeat customers. Even if only a fraction of China's 1.2 billion people falls for it once, you'd still make a fortune. Just charge each person 1 yuan, and you will earn 100 million. But be sure to use guerrilla tactics like in tunnel warfare, moving from place to place to avoid trouble. The main roads are crowded. Isn't it time you wised up? The main roads are crowded. Isn't it time you wised up? What? You want to make money in cities or tourist areas? That's not hard either. Partner with the right people, rent a temple or pagoda, put on a monk's robe, place a Buddha statue in the center and a censer in front, letting incense smoke fill the air. Then, chant some mantras, and you'll find that the offerings alone will sustain you for life. If you're a bit cleverer, point out a specific benefactor as special, or say they have a divine aura or are facing a calamity. They won't hesitate to pay. Today, there are many city dwellers who are devout believers. Who doesn't want peace, wealth, or blessings from Buddha? Who doesn't want a prosperous family? If you can tap into these desires, even PhD holders and scholars will pay, let alone wealthy business executives and corrupt officials. They have money to spare, and all you need to do is make them happy. If your personality isn't suited to becoming an official, amassing wealth, gaining fame, creating religion, organizing a gang, or fortune-telling, then just live honestly as an ordinary person. Ordinary people have many paths too. Farmers, herders, foresters, fishermen, workers, taxi drivers, small vendors, teachers, civil servants, soldiers, police officers, store clerks, service workers, small business owners, actors, broadcasters, pilots, and so on are all ordinary occupations. Those engaged in photography, painting, tourism, music, dance, art, editing, or journalism also fall under the category of ordinary people. Even stamp collectors, antique dealers, stock traders, entertainers, brokers, and intermediaries are just ordinary people's professions. Those who work in philosophy, archaeology, biochemistry, economics, literature, engineering, research, sports, law, politics, astronomy, geography, etc., if they achieve results, become experts above the common people. If not, they are also ordinary people. As for singers, writers, movie stars, martial artists, and sports celebrities, they are individuals with special talents and belong to a unique group of ordinary people. No matter where we position ourselves in the category of ordinary people, our journey of life is inevitably difficult and winding, filled with confusion and misfortune, sorrow, and helplessness. The ending is always tragic. The truth is, it's all for a meal, for survival, for staying alive. No matter how we position ourselves in life, if we fail to understand the meaning, purpose, and value of life, and the mysteries of life, it doesn't matter if we are kings or commoners, rich or poor, thieves or petty criminals, famous or obscure. In the end, we all face meaningless death. Don't think that the death of an ant king is more valuable or meaningful than that of a common bee, or that a tiger's death is more glorious than a mouse's. In the grand scheme of things, we are all just temporary pieces on a chessboard. So, how should we position our lives? This is where religion comes in. Religion seeks to transcend reality and point to the meaning of life and the direction of life's development. Whether it's Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, Taoism, Shinto, or other religions, their fundamental purpose is the same: through spiritual cultivation, to extend human life into heaven. But there's a dilemma. There are so many religions and sects in the world, and once you transcend worldly barriers, you face the challenge of how to position yourself beyond the mundane. Should you become a Christian or a Buddhist? Should you believe in Islam or Shinto? If you choose the wrong path, you may end up with eternal regret. You might fail at worldly life and miss out on heaven, losing on both fronts. It's time to think deeply. No matter where you position yourself in the secular world, it leads to a dead end. If you position yourself poorly in transcending the mundane, not only does it lead to a dead end, but it also makes your life neither fish nor fowl, with no clear direction. The future may seem bright, but it could be self-deception. So, how should you position your life? Here are my suggestions. First, study the scriptures of various religions, compare them, and integrate scientific theories and empirical experiences. Identify what is reasonable and discard what is not. Observe the heavens, the earth, humanity, and all things. Gain your own insights, especially through spiritual meditation. Ensure that your real-life experience is meaningful and enjoyable. Free your mind and strive to achieve the greatest possible freedom. Your life must have value and meaning for life, nature, and human society. Do not blindly follow any path unless you fully understand it. If someone wants you to believe, ask them to explain the principles clearly. Focus your efforts on matters of life. After adhering to these 8 principles, position yourself accordingly. This will be your best life positioning. To understand Xiefeng's life positioning, please refer to the Xiefeng corpus. Yin Shi Ao Mi. Secrets of Diet. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. The key principles of diet are slow, soft, and warm. This is basic common knowledge in health studies, meaning that the pace of eating should be slow, the food should be soft, and the temperature should be warm. Fast, hard, cold, and hot are major taboos in maintaining health through diet. However, the true secret of diet does not lie in being slow, soft, or warm, but in the heart, in the mindset of the eater toward the food. From experiments on water molecule crystallization, we know that the structure of molecules changes with a person's mindset. From quantum mechanics, we learn that the behavior of fundamental particles is related to the observer's consciousness. Food, as a substance composed of molecules and fundamental particles, undoubtedly has a molecular structure closely related to the eater's mindset, and its behavior within the body is also closely tied to the eater's consciousness. Life Chanuan's dietary theory is as follows. Regardless of what food we consume, we should always maintain a sense of gratitude. Keeping a heart filled with gratitude is the secret to maximizing the energy obtained from food. When we feel grateful, the internal molecular structure of all foods, including water, transforms into a beautiful structure that benefits human health. When we eat with a positive mindset, the fundamental particles of the food quickly and joyfully enter the digestive system and are rapidly absorbed by the body. This not only improves the utilization of the food's nutritional value, but also minimizes food waste. True Christians have a good habit of praying before meals to thank God for the food. This is the secret of diet. This practice is essentially a way of reprocessing the food, optimizing its nutritional components, and maximizing the effective nutritional value utilized by the body. People who enjoy drinking know that drinking with close friends or people who share similar temperaments makes it hard to get drunk, even after many drinks. In contrast, drinking with opponents or people of incompatible temperaments makes it easier to get drunk after just a few drinks. The atmosphere at the table directly affects the effects of alcohol. The degree of intoxication is not mainly due to the alcohol itself, but to the drinker's mindset. Most people know from experience that food consumed when angry is prone to causing indigestion and gastrointestinal issues, while food consumed in a joyful mood, even when eaten in excess, is easier to digest. This is a result of the mindset while eating. Therefore, we should maintain a joyful and grateful mindset while eating. This is the true secret of dietary health. Remember, when people are in a joyful state, their mental state is at its best, their thinking is sharpest, and their spirit is most beautiful. Similarly, food consumed in a joyful state has the highest nutritional value and is easiest to absorb and digest. Therefore, food also needs joy. So, when you eat, make sure to bring joy to the food. Tell the food, "You are beautiful, you are fragrant, you look great, thank you." In response, the food will say, "The host is wonderful, the host is good, the host is elegant, thank you, host." Why not do it? People who have endured hardships or have a beautiful soul are most likely to be grateful. For someone like me, Xiefeng, who has endured hunger. I understand the value and preciousness of food. Therefore, I rarely suffer from gastrointestinal diseases. My eating habits are irregular and chaotic. I eat cold and hard foods without hesitation, leftover dishes without complaint, and even moldy or spoiled food. When I am happy, I can eat as much as 2 meals in one sitting, and sometimes only a little in a day. My wife jealously says, "The greatest creator is so biased, giving you a healthy stomach." But she doesn't know that it's not about the stomach, but about my attitude toward food. I am someone who almost starved to death, so I have a natural appreciation for food. My speed of eating is renowned. During school, while other students chewed slowly after getting their food from the dining hall, I would immediately start eating while walking, and by the time I reached the dormitory, I had already finished my food. Generally, I finish a meal in no more than 10 minutes, if not for considering those around me. Taiji Celestial, Wanyan Celestial, and Tianshan Celestial have all experienced my eating speed. I never consider the nutritional value of the food. I eat whatever is available and don't think about the nutritional balance. During my 4 years of high school, I never had breakfast, only ate a cornmeal bun for lunch, and had simple noodle soup for dinner. There was no meat, and vegetables were scarce. During those 4 years, I don't remember having any illnesses. My body was very thin but strong. No matter how rough or simple the food, as long as it fills my stomach and prevents hunger, I am satisfied. This has been my greatest desire for food throughout my life. Moreover, with the abundance of food now, I feel like I'm living in heaven, just in terms of eating. Especially when eating fruits like apples and watermelons, the first thought that comes to mind is the greatest creator. The fruits are perfectly made by the greatest creator, with just the right amount of moisture and sweetness, making them endlessly enjoyable and never tiresome. So, people, be grateful when drinking water or eating food. This is not only beneficial for your physical health, but also for your mental well-being. Embrace a mindset of gratitude while eating. This is the secret of diet. Remember it well. 知晓来生益处多. The many benefits of knowing about the afterlife. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qinyu. There is a story about two like-minded explorers on an adventure in a desert. After losing their way, they found that the water they carried was only enough to sustain them for half a day. They were left with a dilemma. They could either share the remaining water and eventually perish together, or one person could stay behind while the other took all the water to search for a way out and find a new water source, promising to return for the one who stayed. Since death seemed inevitable, they decided to take a slim chance at survival. One person stayed behind, and the gun was left with him. They agreed that the one who stayed would fire the gun every 2 hours to help the other person determine their direction and eventually find him. At first, the person who stayed behind still had hope. He lay in a sandpit and fired the gun every 2 hours, but each time he was met with endless silence. After 4 shots, his spirit was on the brink of collapse, with only 1 bullet left. His thoughts wandered to his home and loved ones, and an overwhelming sense of helplessness seized his heart. How he longed to live. However, he thought he was being rational. He believed his companion would not return. If he fired the last shot into the air, he would eventually die of thirst. He did not want to endure such suffering, so he bravely placed the gun to his head and fired, ending his precious life. Half an hour later, his companion, carrying enough water, found him, guided by the sound of the final gunshot. A tragedy that could have been avoided occurred because the one left behind could not see what the future held. If he had known that his companion had already found water and was on his way back, the tragedy would not have happened. Similar tragedies happen to humans every day, particularly to those who, under the guise of rationality, believe there is no afterlife and hold no hope for it. Whether from logical reasoning, global evidence proving the existence of an afterlife, the teachings of Jesus and Buddha, or the direct visions of those with spiritual insight, it is clear that life indeed continues beyond death. The main reason most people do not believe in the afterlife is that they are overly rational. Clearly, the companion was coming with water, but the person left in the desert could not see it. Because he could not see it, he rationally refused to believe it. Isn't this a tragedy? If we do not believe in an afterlife, then our only choice is to make the most of this life, to strive and toil in the present. If life has no afterlife, then all morality is hypocritical. Whoever can live better than others is deemed successful. In this view, fighting, robbing, oppressing, and coercion become justified. It becomes a matter of survival of the fittest. The successful are heroes, the failures are fools. It is about who is more cunning, who can outwit whom. The victor becomes the king, the defeated, a bandit. What use is there for conscience? What use for morality? If we do not believe in an afterlife, then in times of success, one might become complacent, arrogant, and lawless. In times of failure, one might blame the heavens, the earth, and their parents, becoming irritable and hostile towards society and nature. When all other options are exhausted, the only path left may be to point the gun at one's own head and pull the trigger, ending one's life. However, if we understand that life has an afterlife, we can leisurely enjoy life, whether this life is marked by success or failure. This life is merely one journey in the continuum of life. Why be overly concerned? In the end, heroes and fools alike are reduced to dust, leaving behind just a mound of dirt covered by grass. Only life continues to move forward. If we know there is an afterlife, we will not be distracted by fleeting illusions, but will view life as a process of profound transformation, focusing on how to shape a better future for our life. A life with hope and a life without it are fundamentally different. Those who do not acknowledge an afterlife face only a dead end, without hope. Facing death, they are left with helplessness and endless fear. But those who believe in the afterlife see a brighter future. They face death calmly, gracefully, and with optimism. Such a life is beyond the reach of those who live merely to survive. Some say, even if there is an afterlife, we do not know it in this life, so it has no meaning for the living. It is better to live each day as it comes and make the most of it. Without hope or faith in an afterlife, how can we live well? Even birds seem to live more joyfully than humans. Are we to live like animals? A person who believes in the afterlife has a fundamentally different inner world than one who does not. Noble ideals and the highest moral values are pursued and upheld by those who firmly believe in the afterlife, while inhumane laws and crimes are committed by those who do not. Is there an afterlife? Ask Jesus Christ. Ask Buddha Shakyamuni. Ask Xiefeng, and you will find the answer. 如何运用自由意志? How to use free will. Xiefeng. November 24th, 2015. Translation edited by Qin Yu. Humans possess free will. When the script and characters are set, how the story unfolds is determined by one's free will. People are incapable of fully aligning with the Tao. The very places where they fail to align with the Tao are precisely caused by the exercise of their free will. Humans think, weigh pros and cons, strategize, and seek benefits while avoiding harm. These are all manifestations of free will. People experience troubles, pain, anxiety, worry, and fear, and these feelings are the sensations of consciousness, further proving the existence of free will. When free will conflicts with the script's storyline and character arrangements, these feelings are born. When we shop at a mall filled with a dazzling array of goods, we make choices, and this process of selection is a full expression of free will. Television has broadcast blind date programs, where the dating process is a demonstration of free will in action. If humans lacked free will, they would simply become biological robots, and the act of making choices would not occur. Chanyuan celestials living in the home should have experienced this. When you are in a one-on-one situation, you may internally resist the guide's instruction to avoid such interactions, even feeling that you are right and the guide is wrong. However, you dare not openly resist. On one hand, you want to follow the guide's direction, but on the other, you find it difficult to let go. As a result, confusion and pain arise within. This is the conflict between free will and the script's storyline. The Buddhist teaching is no self. A person with no self has no free will. The Buddhist state is no self. If there is a self, then it is not the Buddha. The requirement for aligning with the Tao and heaven is to align one's free will with the program of the Tao and the laws of heaven, not to oppose them. In other words, one should willingly, joyfully, and happily align with the script's storyline and character arrangements, embodying each role naturally, step by step, with the heart and mind in harmony. Stubbornness is an extreme manifestation of free will. When asked to go east, you insist on going west. When asked to play, you insist on working. When asked to move, you insist on being still. When asked to take something off, you insist on putting something on. In this way, conflicts intensify and suffering and calamities occur more frequently. By observing the people around you, historical figures, or characters in television dramas, you will find that those who are stubborn often lead difficult lives, experience misfortune, and meet unfortunate ends. This is why the Buddha taught us to eliminate attachment to the self. Each Chanyuan celestial living in the home can also discover this secret from personal experience. When you adhere to the Chanyuan values and strictly follow the guide's roadmap, you will experience happiness, joy, freedom, and well-being. However, when you violate the Chanyuan values and diverge from the guide's roadmap, you will feel suppressed, depressed, and uncomfortable, unable to enjoy happiness and freedom. This confusion is caused by the desire to exercise free will. The sage embraces the One to be a model for the world. Why embrace the One? Because embracing the One brings ease, simplicity, freedom, and happiness. Without embracing the One, every step becomes difficult and disaster is inevitable. In the universe, it means aligning with the greatest creator. In a nation, aligning with the head of the government. In a group, aligning with the highest authority. If you choose to oppose, it is like an egg striking a rock, leaving yourself battered and bruised. To embrace the One, you must eliminate attachment to the self, and to eliminate attachment to the self, you must curb your free will as much as possible when it conflicts with the storyline. Free will is a gift from the greatest creator, and anything given by the greatest creator should be used. Not using it is wrong, but how should it be used? The universal script is vast and complex. Only by opening the Dharma eye and Buddha eye can one glimpse some of its mysteries. By looking at the long river of history, through the lens of centuries and millennia, by examining minute details, and by understanding the characteristics of the Tao and its laws of expression, one may gain some insight. Most people, however, have ordinary eyes and limited vision, unable to comprehend what this great script is portraying and how it is unfolding. The only broad and open road is to follow the way of the greatest creator, to listen to and adhere to the teachings and guidance of gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and sages. Relying on our own limited wisdom to understand the truth of the universe is like climbing a tree to catch a fish. Using our own free will to find a shortcut to heaven is nothing more than a fool's dream. 我们是否应当保持善良? Should we maintain kindness? Xiefeng. October 8, 2015. Translation edited by Qin Yu. All teachings of gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and sages almost always revolve around kindness. The saying good deeds bring good rewards is a universal law. I believe that the teachings of gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and sages are correct. People should be kind because kindness is the most beautiful flower in the soul garden. But the question is, what is kindness? Once, a group of black people pitifully called me daddy, and as a result, they scammed me out of hundreds of thousands of yuan. Was I being kind? I don't think I was kind. I was foolish. Once, I wholeheartedly cared for someone, but in the end, that person belittled and looked down on me. Was I being kind? I don't think I was kind. I was ignorant. Once, I sincerely praised a certain government, a certain party, and a certain leader, but they ended up taking over my home and driving me to the brink of despair. Was I being kind? I don't think I was kind. I was aiding the wicked. My praise was an irrational evil. If someone ends another person's life, is that kindness or evil? If you think it's evil, then you must oppose euthanasia, right? If you think it's kindness, then should many people be sent to their graves? When a cat catches a mouse, is the cat being kind or evil? When a bird eats a worm, and the worm eats crops, are the bird and the worm kind or evil? Ask a blooming poppy flower, is it kind or evil? I seem to have mentioned in elementary self-improvement that I neither want to be a good person nor a bad person. Living according to the Creator's intentions and the will of the greatest creator, I believe, is true kindness. Shangfu Mo Xing. Conquering demonic nature. Xiefeng. November 7th, 2012. Translation edited by Qin Yu. There are demons in the universe, and they are on the same level as gods, Buddhas, and super celestial beings, just beneath the greatest creator. Due to the holographic nature of the universe, all beings possess demonic nature, just as they possess divine, Buddha, and celestial nature. The nature that dominates a being determines whether they are a god, Buddha, demon, celestial being, or something else like a spirit, monster, human, or animal. If divine nature fills them, they are a god. If Buddha nature fills them, they are a Buddha. If demonic nature dominates, they are a demon. If human nature is dominant, they are human, and so on. It is easy for humans to become demons because human nature includes demonic nature. There are many TV stations on Earth broadcasting their signals. A television set has many channels corresponding to these broadcasts, and the program displayed depends on which channel the TV is tuned to. People are like televisions. When their consciousness is tuned to the demonic channel, they receive information from demons and are becoming demonic. Conversely, if tuned to the Buddha channel, they receive information from Buddhas and are moving closer to Buddhahood. Grass doesn't grow on stones, and few insects live on snowy mountains because the conditions for their existence are not present. A person dominated by divine or Buddha nature does not have the conditions to become demonic, but when someone exhibits the following characteristics, they are easily controlled by demons and can become one. Arrogance. Arrogance is the best condition for becoming demonic. Once a person becomes arrogant, they are on the same frequency as demons and have become a demonic offspring. Self-centeredness. When a person is self-centered in everything, disregarding nature, society, or others' feelings, and is always talking about their own viewpoints, understanding, insights, experiences, feelings, troubles, pains, and misfortunes, always blaming others or society and never considering their own faults, they are prone to arguments, anger, and disputes. Such a person is on the path to becoming demonic. Secrecy. If someone acts in secret, afraid of being discovered, often talks behind others' backs, spreads rumors, or digs into others' private matters, they are close to being demonic. Greed and deceit. An insatiable desire for wealth and power, wanting to possess all the good things in the world, with a heart full of private desires and greed, leads to the use of any means to achieve one's goals. This includes being ruthless, deceitful, and engaging in all sorts of evils. This is demonic. Mystical deception. Lacking facts, science, logic, or spiritual awareness, using the guise of being in touch with gods, Buddhas, or higher beings to achieve selfish goals, using spiritual powers, spells, witchcraft, or dreams to confuse and control others. This is demonic. Intense jealousy. Instead of appreciating and praising all things beautiful, attacking and destroying them. Instead of encouraging and affirming others' strengths and possessions, finding ways to undermine and condemn them. Instead of learning from others' merits and virtues, constantly criticizing and blaming. This leads to envy and destruction, which is demonic behavior. Extreme selfishness. Never grateful or appreciative, everything revolves around satisfying oneself. When their desires are not met, they either scream hysterically or harbor silent hatred. Any dissatisfaction leads them to throw away the greatest creator's grace and others' kindness. The saying "white-eyed wolf" refers to such people. These individuals are unwilling to take responsibility, never finding fault in themselves but always blaming others for any mistakes. They always consider their own feelings but never care about others' feelings, being unreasonable and incomprehensible. They always think others treat them poorly without considering whether they treat others poorly. This is a sign of demonic nature. Threatening with death. Whenever dissatisfied or frustrated, constantly threatening others with death to force them to meet their demands or desires. This is the behavior of a demonic offspring. These 8 traits, arrogance, self-centeredness, secrecy, greed and deceit, mystical deception, intense jealousy, extreme selfishness, and threatening with death, are the conditions and soil for becoming demonic. When these traits are present, one will be on the path to demonic control, becoming a demonic offspring. How to conquer demonic nature? Answer: reverence for the greatest creator, for life, and for nature. Let the light of the greatest Creator fill your heart and strengthen your faith in walking the way of the greatest Creator. Live humbly, prioritize giving, be honest and open in all actions. Avoid spiritualism and the display of spiritual powers, spells, witchcraft. Don't fabricate dreams. Always see the good in others and society and rejoice in others' happiness. Analyze and judge matters from others' perspectives. Remain calm in all situations. Never threaten others with death and avoid extreme actions. By doing so, you can conquer your demonic nature, walk the way of light and happiness, and ultimately attain supreme authentic enlightenment and reach the blissful realms. If you do not conquer your demonic nature, you will suffer greatly and fall into the lower level of life, enduring endless pain. 人的仇敌会是自己家里的人. Your enemies will be the members of your own household. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. Matthew 10 verse 36 states, "A man's enemies will be the members of his own household." If these words were spoken by an ordinary person, they would likely be met with outrage, possibly leading to their expulsion from the family or being labeled as ungrateful, disrespectful, or even insane. The issue is that these words were spoken by the Son of God, the Savior of humanity, Jesus Christ. It's hard to fathom why the members of one's own household would be considered one's enemies. Aren't family members the ones who care about our daily needs, our comfort and pain? Would strangers be concerned about us? Without our family members, what reason would there be to continue living? If we don't care for our family, can we still be considered human? If our family members are our enemies, should we abandon them and leave home? That seems absurd. But hold on, Jesus' words carry profound meaning. This statement is not directed at ordinary people, but at those who wish to walk the path of the greatest Creator, at sages and saints. As Jesus said, "Do not give what is holy to dogs, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to tear you to pieces." The Buddha only taught the Dharma to those who sought the Mahayana, the highest path, not to those content with lesser vehicles. The celestial Laozi also said, "The highest type of man hears the Tao and practices it diligently. The average man hears the Tao and practices it now and then. The lowest type of man hears the Tao and laughs at it loudly. If he did not laugh, it would not be the Tao." Jesus came to save us, to lead us to the kingdom of heaven, which is to say, to enjoy the blissful life of the kingdom of the greatest Creator. According to the revelations of Life Genuine, this means breaking free from the constraints of human existence and living in heaven. The 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium world. How can a person on earth live in heaven? My fellow townsfolk, comrades, friends, and brothers, this is not an easy task. It requires a complete transformation, transcending the ordinary. Jesus taught us, "Truly I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny." What Jesus means is that if we do not repay all our earthly debts, even down to the last penny, we will never escape the bonds of this world and enter heaven. It is said, when given a drop of water, one should repay it with a spring, and repaying debts is a universal truth. Favors are not debts, but in times of need, one might sell even their cooking pot, goes the saying. No matter what kind of debt it is, monetary, emotional, or even a blood debt, if we owe it, we must repay it. If we cannot repay it in this life, we will have to repay it in the next, even if it means becoming oxen, horses, pigs, or dogs. Until all debts are settled, we can forget about living in heaven. Here's the problem. Throughout our lives, how much debt have we accumulated with our family members? The debt of our parents' nurturing, the debt of our children's filial piety, the debt of the care and help from siblings and relatives, and the debt of the unwavering love and care from our spouses. How do we repay these debts? If we cannot repay these debts, we cannot enter the kingdom of heaven and enjoy its beautiful life. With this in mind, aren't our family members the stumbling blocks preventing us from reaching heaven? Aren't they our enemies? Furthermore, when we wish to focus on spiritual themselves, the narrower one's mind, the more they defend themselves. In front of my house, there used to be a wire fence surrounding the largest golf course in Harare. Inside the course, there were lush green grass, gentle slopes, and a vast, open view. From the outside, The view inside was beautiful, and from the inside, the outside scenery was equally picturesque. However, a month ago, things suddenly changed. A wall was erected around the golf course. Now, those outside can no longer see the scenery inside, and those inside can no longer see the scenery outside. The expansive view became narrow in an instant, with the cold, gray wall now dominating the sight, creating a deep sense of oppression. I remember 10 years ago when the walls around homes were low. Some even had no walls at all, using plants and vines to surround their yards instead. Some only used steel bars or wire mesh, allowing pedestrians outside to fully enjoy the unique beauty of each household's garden, appreciating the flowers and plants, and watching the playful dogs and cats inside. The people within the yards could freely take in the scenery outside, effectively expanding their own space and extending their view to infinity. But now, every household has high walls, and these walls are often topped with barbed wire. The gates are made of thick black iron plates, sealed tightly without a crack, completely isolating the inside from the outside. By blocking others, one also blocks oneself. By limiting others' views, one also limits one's own. Closing the doors and windows prevents the entry of sunlight and fresh air. By not opening one's heart, one rejects opportunities for communication with other beautiful souls. Cleverness turns into folly. The more one defends, the more confined they become. The more one emphasizes safety, the less secure they feel. The vastest ocean accommodates the most rivers, and the most open heart is most likely to give birth to the greatest thoughts. Those who do not reject diverse diets have the strongest bodies. The person who receives the most love is the one who selflessly gives their love to as many people as possible. The moment you feel great and extraordinary is precisely when you are at your smallest and most useless. When you feel wise and profound but your heart is arrogant, that is the moment when you are most ignorant. When you hide your emotions and thoughts, believing you have acquired valuable treasures, it is when you are actually harboring rotten and foul garbage. When you are desperately trying to protect and defend yourself, setting up defenses everywhere, that is the moment when you are at your weakest, most troubled, and most bored. A lamp should be placed on a stand to shine and illuminate. Flowers should bloom at the right time to release their fragrance, and people should seize opportunities to create. Opportunity knocks but once. Time waits for no one. Life is short. One cannot passively avoid the world, lingering and hesitating in wait and observation. Lost time can never be retrieved, and missed opportunities will never come again. Every day, every moment is a part of life. One must not let idleness and emptiness occupy the precious space of life. Though the pigsty may be large, it cannot offer a view of the scenery outside. While one can swim in a pond, it cannot allow one to experience the vast and majestic sea. Surrounding oneself with walls may enable survival, but it cannot let one appreciate the diverse wonders of the world. Lying in a coffin buried underground may protect one from the cold wind and fierce storms, but it also deprives one of the myriad joys of life. Break through the consciousness of walls and step out of the prison of the mind. Soar like a petrel riding the stormy waves. Integrate your talents and wisdom into the creation of the life-genuine era. Let your beautiful and precious life flow into the tide of the new era. Clinging stubbornly to the past cannot save you. Holding on to remnants and defects means regression and death. Conservatism cannot compare to openness. Sticking to the old is not as good as innovation. Waiting is not as good as striving forward. Silent death is not as good as calling out for life. Playing seriously, being serious in play, and constantly striving towards the highest state of life. This is the most vibrant and passionate life. Break through the walls of life and enter the paradise of celestial being life. Break through the walls of the family and enter the home of universal love. Break through the walls of religion and political parties and enter the deeper sanctuary of life genuine. Break through the walls of the nation and enter the homeland of life. Most importantly, break through the walls of the mind and soar freely toward infinite freedom. Courageously venture into mysterious and unknown realms, explore the wonders of the vast universe, experience the charm and joys of another form of life, and feel the vast and boundless spiritual realm and the magical thinking melody of creating something out of nothing. Live every moment with boundless freedom, passion, and joy. As long as you break through, you will see a whole new world. 天人合一，同频共振. Unite with heaven, resonate at the same frequency. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. As long as there is motion, there is vibration. As long as there is vibration, there is frequency. Where there is frequency, there is rhythm and regularity. Things that share the same frequency can resonate with each other, mutually enhancing, developing, and growing stronger. Conversely, things with different frequencies can suppress, cancel out, or even destroy each other. The softer something is, the easier it is to adjust its frequency and resonate. The harder something is, the more likely it is to become rigid, resistant, and opposed to resonance. Mountains and rocks can be easily destroyed, but water and air are difficult to break. The more adaptable a life form is to change, the greater its chances of survival. Life forms that cannot adapt to changes in their environment and rigidly adhere to their rhythms are prone to collapse and extinction. This applies to bacteria, plants, animals, and humans alike. Halley's Comet visits Earth every 76 years. This is its rhythm, its regularity, its vibrational frequency. The Earth orbits the Sun every 365 days. The Moon orbits the Earth every 29.5 days. Adult women experience menstruation. Seasons change on schedule. Day and night alternate. Waking and sleeping follow a cycle. Migratory birds move at regular intervals. Tides rise and fall predictably, and the heart beats 60 times per minute. All of these are examples of rhythm and frequency. People whose biological rhythms or frequencies are not suited to high-altitude environments may experience altitude sickness. People who live in areas with low humidity struggle when they move to drier climates. Those who travel long distances across time zones may suffer from jet lag. A Muslim suddenly living among Buddhists might feel uncomfortable, and even someone from the north of a country might find it difficult to adjust to the diet in the south. Have people noticed that everyone has a relatively stable circle of life? Although we live in a vast sea of people, we prefer to live in small circles where the culture and customs are the same or similar to our own. It's difficult to break out of this circle. Abroad, these cultural circles become especially pronounced, with Indians tending to stay together. Chinese people often associate with other Chinese. White people frequent predominantly white clubs, and black people tend to gather in predominantly black entertainment venues. Even in a university, students from the same province are more likely to bond with each other. The force behind these unconscious behaviors is frequency, biological frequency. Why do you like someone? Because their frequency matches or is similar to yours. Why do they dislike you? Because your frequency doesn't resonate with theirs. When frequencies can't resonate, there is no harmony, and without harmony, peaceful coexistence is impossible. To thrive, you must strive to resonate with your surroundings. Frequencies can be adjusted. To ensure that a large symphony orchestra plays beautiful, harmonious music, all the instruments must be tuned to the same pitch and frequency. To function effectively within a group and make a significant impact, each person must also tune their mind and thinking frequency accordingly. Biological entities that stubbornly adhere to their own frequencies, ignoring changes, either struggle through life or head towards self-elimination and destruction. What I'm trying to say is that everything is undergoing significant changes. Suppose the sun suddenly rises in the west. Suppose the sea suddenly becomes land, or land becomes sea. Suppose nations, religions, political parties, and families suddenly disappear. Suppose the sun, moon, and stars suddenly lose their light. Suppose natural disasters occur frequently. Suppose hospitals suddenly vanish, transportation and communication suddenly cease, or you suddenly lose all contact with your loved ones, friends, and familiar people. Could you handle it? I know some compatriots who refuse to eat Western food, saying it's unpalatable and that it upsets their stomachs. There was a man in his 30s who, after living abroad for 6 months, one day cried bitterly. When asked why, he said he missed home and his children. Another friend constantly wore a gloomy expression because he couldn't stand the smell of foreigners. A colleague mentioned feeling oppressed in Zimbabwe because of the abundant trees and said he preferred living in Jaiguan Pass, where the vast Gobi Desert offers a broad, open view. I've noticed that people today are extremely fragile, unable to withstand any shock or setback. Modern people can't enjoy the comfortable life our ancestors had 2,000 years ago. Without tap water, they complain. Without public transport, they curse. Without electric lights or phones, they grumble. Without air conditioning or TV, they get irritated. The more comfortable life is, the more fragile people become. The more freedom they have, the less they can tolerate criticism. If things don't go their way, they abandon themselves to despair, self-pity, and self-loathing. If someone's words are even slightly careless, unintentional from the speaker but taken to heart by the listener, they sulk, throw tantrums, demand independence, seek division, or either remain silent or fly into a rage. They judge others by their own standards. No one can help. Fragility is not the same as softness. I hope people can be soft, not fragile. Softness can adapt to various frequencies, but fragility leads only to death. The unity of heaven and humanity doesn't just mean heaven-human resonance, heaven-human oneness, or heaven-human holography. It also means adapting to the changes of heaven. We can't always expect heaven to conform to human desires. Instead, we should consider how humans can align with the will of heaven, resonating with the changes in the Tao. If it rains, crying won't help. If it snows, shouting is useless. One must adapt to the changes of heaven. The stars are awakening. Consciousness must change. The frequency of the heavens is going to change, and people should enter life genuine. All religions will unify into one uniform belief. This is the trend of the times, and we must adapt. We must change the frequency of our minds. If our frequency does not change, the fate of the dinosaurs serves as a warning. Bitter medicine is good for illness. Honest advice is good for life. I earnestly and with sincere care call out to people, the great power is coming. Hurry up. The gate to heaven is as narrow as a seam. Follow the guide to your future, and don't look around, left or right. To resonate with heaven is the true path. 人生的参照系和坐标系 The reference frame and coordinate system of life. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. After reading Dan Xin's Recreating Reality, a direct hit on the frame of reference, I suddenly gained some insight. Dan Xin mentioned, whatever frame of reference you establish, your life will correspond to that. The relationship between a person and the world will be shaped accordingly. This is indeed the truth. Life must have a frame of reference. The kind of reference frame one adopts will determine the kind of life one leads. When we observe human society, we find that people are grouped together, and the primary factor that determines these groupings is the frame of reference. People with the same frame of reference tend to cluster together, while those with different frames of reference find it difficult to integrate. What frames of reference exist in human society? The Bible, the Quran, Buddhist scriptures, the Tao Te Ching, science, wealth and fame, the theory of evolution, New Age concepts, Marxism, and Mao Zedong thought. These are all different frames of reference. If we classify them another way, the greatest creator, gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, humans, life, natural society, human society, time and space, non-material, and so on are all frames of reference. Christians take the Bible as their frame of reference. Muslims take the Quran. Buddhists take the Buddhist scriptures. Communist Party members take Marxism and Mao Zedong thought. Merchants take wealth. Politicians take power. Scholars take fame. And ordinary people take daily survival as their frame of reference. The ignorant have no frame of reference. A frame of reference is crucial. Choosing the wrong one can lead to a lifetime of regret and endless harm. One misstep leads to eternal remorse. So, what is the best frame of reference? What standard should we use to establish our life's frame of reference? I believe that the best frame of reference is one that allows people to live a life of value, meaning, joy, and happiness while also giving them hope, enthusiasm, drive, and vitality, and enables them to transition from the human world to heaven. I believe life genuine is such a frame of reference. With a frame of reference, one can then enter a coordinate system. Bacteria, insects, wild beasts, birds, fish and tortoises, flowers, plants, domestic animals, the ignorant, the worldly, the mortal, sages, celestial beings, Buddhas, gods. these all represent different coordinate systems. The Life of Chanyuan members, the Chanyuan Celestials, use celestial beings as their coordinate system. The kind of reference frame you adopt will shape the life you lead, and the kind of coordinate system you choose will determine the quality of your life. Let us take Life of Chanyuan as our frame of reference and celestial beings as our coordinate system, as we move toward the Celestial Islands continent of the Elysium world. 相生相克保持平衡. Mutual generation and restraint maintain balance. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qinyu. Balance brings blessings. Excess brings misfortune. The coexistence of mutual generation and restraint is the essence of peace. This is true for the universe, and it should also be true for human life. I have studied the five elements theory and was once fascinated by fortune-telling for others. I discovered that the ancient Chinese wisdom is profound and mysterious. What is often dismissed as nonsense and superstition by the secular world actually contains the crystallized wisdom of our ancestors, who deeply studied the laws of the universe and the trajectory of life's blessings and misfortunes. Due to our ignorance, we have foolishly thrown away these gems of wisdom into the trash, while modern people are intoxicated by the dazzling surface phenomena of a commercial society or merely use the wisdom of the ancients as a means to make money through fortune-telling, completely ignoring the vast and profound knowledge about the universe and life left by our predecessors. The five elements, metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, mutually generate and restrain each other. Wood generates fire, fire generates earth generates metal, metal generates water, and water generates wood. The five elements also restrain each other. Metal restrains wood, wood restrains earth restrains water, water restrains fire, and fire restrains metal. Only through mutual generation and restraint can all things develop harmoniously and be peaceful forever. Any extreme development not only harms the rest, but inevitably leads to its own demise. This principle applies to nature, and human society should be the same. The reason why the United States, a country with only a few hundred years of history and a mixture of races and cultures, can become a world superpower is mainly because it conforms to the principle of mutual generation and restraint. Their administration, legislation, judiciary, religion, and civil organizations are like metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, mutually generating and restraining each other, enabling harmonious and vigorous development and making them invincible. On the other hand, China, with its 5,000-year cultural history, has experienced continuous wars, movements, and widespread discontent and anxiety throughout its history. The root cause lies in the violation of the principle of mutual generation and restraint. National affairs are not the concern of us Life of Chanyuan. What we care about is how each individual can live a happy and fulfilling life. From the 8 characters fortune-telling, I have glimpsed some mysteries. The so-called 8 characters fortune-telling involves converting a person's birth year, month, day, and hour into the heavenly stems and earthly branches, then converting these into the 5 elements, and finally using the principles of mutual generation and restraint of the 5 elements to calculate a person's future lifespan, fortunes, merits and demerits, success and failures. This method of fortune-telling is highly scientific and reasonable and is a profound subject. I studied it for 2 years and found that its mysteries are beyond the understanding of anyone who is not highly learned and wise. Mechanically fortune-telling is undesirable, but what is desirable is to provide timely guidance based on each person's 5 elements. This guidance is essentially about changing a person's life trajectory, but changing a person's life trajectory is no easy task. It involves a series of personal factors. Not only must one consider the person's 5 elements attributes and the positions of the 8 trigrams, but also the changes in the times, the changes of the moment, and the 5 elements attributes of others connected to the person. One must also consider the person's beliefs and psychological activities. If any of these factors are ignored, fortune-telling guidance may have negative consequences or even disastrous results. Therefore, I no longer dare to tell fortunes. One universal insight I've gained is worth sharing. Fate lies in balance, and a life that has lost its balance will inevitably lead to sorrow and disaster. In Revelation chapter, Article 29, the priorities and urgency of life, I gave a brief explanation of what are the priorities and urgency of life from a macro perspective of life as a whole. From a micro perspective, each stage of life has its priorities and urgencies, and even each day has its priorities and urgencies. Ignoring priorities and urgencies and spending much time on what is secondary and trivial can lead to distress at any time. So maintaining balance is crucial. The reason why the five elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth can exist forever is mainly that they can mutually generate and restrain each other, maintaining balance. Balance is perfection, smoothness, harmony, and the law for the permanence of life. If a person's five elements attribute is mountain fire, and if their relatives have a predominantly fire attribute, and they live in the southern part of the country, this indicates that the fire element is too strong. If they encounter a fire year, fire month, fire day, or fire hour, the fire will inevitably burn fiercely. The external manifestation could be illness, disaster, or even sudden death, unexpected misfortunes such as illness or car accidents. At this time, traveling to the north to visit relatives, or being with a few people whose five elements attribute is water, especially those whose attribute is heavenly water, can alleviate the severity of the situation. Giving flowers, crops, and trees the right amount of water will make them grow well, but soaking them in water will inevitably drown them. Therefore, more is not necessarily better. Moderation is best. People generally resent those who restrain them, wishing to destroy them. A powerful and corrupt person hates party discipline, hates media interviews, and hates the freedom of speech of the common people. They see the factors that restrain them as enemies, and the inevitable result is that they will fall when they are at their peak. Aside from emotional factors, parents, spouses, children, etc., are the restraining factors on a person's path of cultivation. But it is precisely these restraining factors that prevent a person from going to extremes and from going mad. Attending school, working, and participating in social activities are also restraining factors on the path of cultivation. These restraining factors provide us with opportunities for cultivation and excellent opportunities for insight. Good fortune hides within bad, and bad fortune lurks within good. Appropriate help or harm to others is beneficial, while excessive help or harm will lead to disaster. Conclusion: when the direction is right, every step is an elevation. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, mutually generate and restrain each other. As for the myriad affairs of life, one should go with the flow but never go to extremes. Do not seek possession, but seek balance. Do not seek fame, but seek inner peace. Do not seek intensity, but seek emptiness and elegance. 破坏与创造, destruction and creation. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Qin Yu. Refusing to grow means stagnation, rigidity, and death. Without a series of deaths, life loses all its meaning. The silkworm breaks out of its egg, bathes in sunlight, gentle breezes, and dewdrops, busily feeds on mulberry leaves. It continues to grow, shedding its skin twice in a complete transformation, producing golden or silvery silk. Then it spins a cocoon, transforming itself into a pupa. After a period of cultivation and practice, it changes its life structure and finally breaks out of the cocoon, emerging as a butterfly, fluttering gracefully among flowers and trees, fully enjoying the splendor of life. The eggshell, old skin, and cocoon are forms of protection, but they are also constraints. Only by continuously creating and then destroying can a brand new life form be born, soaring freely in the vast mountains and rivers. Isn't human life just the same? Family, ethnicity, nation, religion, and political parties are like the eggshell and cocoon. Initially, they protect, but later, they become restraints and shackles. If the silkworm does not break the shell and abandon it, it will die within it. Even if it does not die, it will remain forever curled inside, unable to enjoy the joy of becoming a butterfly. Constantly dying and being reborn is the meaning of life. Continuously creating and destroying is the meaning of human existence. This is a new way of thinking, a new way of life, a sage's view of life, a saint's worldview, a divine perspective on life, and the greatest creator's view of the universe. Every day, as the bright sun breaks through the morning mist and rises in the east, the crystal-clear dewdrops on the leaf tips gradually evaporate in the morning light, and a new day begins. The earth is filled with fresh vitality. New things continuously rise. The ocean sings in the waves. The green branches sway gracefully in the breeze. Joyful birds soar freely in the blue sky, and flowers bloom proudly in the fields and mountains. Ah, how marvelous life is, with the songs of birds and swallows everywhere, brimming with vitality, streams murmuring, and green waves rippling. Yesterday has passed. Beside the dying boat, 1,000 sails pass. In front of the sick tree, 10,000 new trees spring up. We should embrace new life, face the morning glow, enjoy the fresh breeze, carry a basket, and happily pick the mushrooms of happiness that belong to us. This is an active life, a diligent life, a life full of vitality, and also a life of joy and happiness. We keep on trekking, keep moving forward, heading toward the light, toward the future, toward a new life, toward the boundless space and time of life. Advance together, singing and dancing joyfully. Clinging to the past is the worldview of the passive and lazy. Restricting the pursuit of freedom and happiness is the devil's worldview. Obstructing others' joy and happiness is the narrow and selfish mindset of the petty, and attacking and destroying others' joy and happiness is the perverted moral view of the malformed. Every man is a unique new landscape, and every woman should at least get to know 10 men in her lifetime. Every woman is a fresh and beautiful scenery, and every man should love at least 10 women in his lifetime. Keep the good ones, discard the bad ones in time, and then seek new scenery. The pursuit of freedom and happiness in love is a legitimate right granted by the greatest creator. Why not love? Why not pursue? Why live such a burdened life? In the end, isn't it just a trip to the crematorium? Don't cry and say, I haven't lived enough, or blame the heavens and earth, saying, I've lived too miserably. No, say, I lived a free and fulfilling life with no regrets. I lived according to the emotions the greatest creator gave me, with flavor, with affection and righteousness. Everyone should enter some religion or political group for baptism and experience, but don't get so deeply involved that you can't get out. Religion and political groups are like protective shells and cocoons. Only those who can enter and exit freely can transcend. If you can enter but can't exit, you will die in them, losing the qualification and opportunity to appreciate the wonders of the world. This is why Life Genuine insists on being friends without forming factions. Everyone belongs to a certain ethnicity and country, but ethnicity and country are also protective shells and cocoons. If we regard these shells and cocoons as our eternal protectors, then we live too narrowly, too boringly, too selfishly, and too conservatively. If our hearts are broad enough, we will appreciate all the ethnicities and countries in the world, befriending brothers and sisters of all ethnicities, and being friendly neighbors with sages and common folk from all countries. Blind arrogance in nationalism and statism is an obstacle and enemy to human happiness. Those who put the interests of their ethnicity and country above all are narrow-minded frogs in a well, pitiful creatures. A person with a healthy mind will not limit their life vision to a narrow valley but will look beyond hills and mountains, toward the future, toward the whole world, to appreciate